We are back here for another episode of Make City Make Spence. It's Tuesday, July the 22nd, 2025, year of our Lord. Garrett Comat's here. Joining me as always, Adam Hernandez, Sean Spence, Sean being the one to make City make Spence. Folks that
We
are
need
checking
it.
this
We need
out,
it. We need it today. We need City
yeah,
to make sense today.
folks are gonna listen to this and be like, "Wait a minute, you're going into this a little bit quick, Garrett. What? You sound like there's some edge in your voice. What's going on? You either been living under a rock, or unaware of potentially what has taken place. Part of it, to give you a little rundown, is last night, Sean, Adam, and I gathered. We had our original idea of recording for this week. We talked about the two Detroit City FC matches that took place at Keyworth Stadium, a 2-1 loss to Hartford on July 12th, a 0-0 draw with Pittsburgh Riverhounds in front of a sellout 72-35. We talked about Written Pieces. Sean, you wrote a great piece for the Words About Shapes Patreon. $3 a month. Subscribe to that on Patreon, please. Adam, you wrote a piece on the Majors Detroit website. We talked about those pieces and about this rough run of Detroit City form that is historically rough. The 10 USL Championship League matches since May 3rd, 1 win, 4 draws, 5 losses, 7 points collected, 10 points blown from winning positions, and the rough and what we think are the causes of that, and what we've seen of this squad and everything. And then 11 a.m. Eastern time kicks in today. We recorded last night. We went 2+ hours. It was a marathon episode. And then at 11 o'clock a.m. this morning, I get a notification on my phone from the Detroit City app. It says in caps, "Thank you, Trevor James." So you click on it, and basically the app header is like the social media post. Some of these
Like,
people do so.
yeah, thank you, so and so is never a good headline in the world of football. Like, uh-oh.
So I'm gonna walk over because I need to see this on my tablet so I can see this bit verbatim. Because unfortunately, for my Spectrum brain that I normally remember every fucking detail, I didn't remember this in this moment. So thank you, Trevor James. And it was something about the effort in there. We'll go more into detail, like with more there relive some classic moments, etc., and everything, right? And you're like, okay, something's on there. Then you click on the article on the club's website. Detroit City and sporting director Trevor James part ways, effective immediately. A completely different tone, a completely different, like, oh, we're doing what? That's compared to what? Sean, I'm going to hand it to you to lead off, and Adam, and then maybe I'll have some more thoughts.
Okay, yeah, I had a similar experience, except I was in the pizza mines. And started getting texts from people going, "What the fuck, man? What is going on with this?" Uh, and I looked it up and immediately felt a little bit ashamed, because I, I Trevor joked to me a little while ago that that at some point that he was going to give them tell them what he thought, and they were going to thank him by firing him or something. And I at the time I wasn't even the thought that that was a real thing was did not even occur to me. I was just like, all right, you know um and yeah, now it's one of those moments where you kind of flash back and it immediately like kind of freeze in your spirit, because like, oh, I completely missed that he was, you know, that he felt like he was in jeopardy, and that he was trying to communicate that to me a little bit, in that moment. Uh, you know, um, I've spoken to people around this today, as best I could while mining for pizzas. Um, Unfortunately, no one from the front office saw fit to return my call or my text or anything, so I don't have their side of the story. Um, So we'll see what emerges from that. I can say that I heard from a few people that they thought that possibly this was health related. And the thing that concerns me is that the people I've heard say this are people who have Congress with the front office on a fairly routine basis. They're supporters who are prominent and talk to the front office. Um, that is not the truth, at least as understood by uh, Trevor and Tiffany. Um, so what worries me a little bit is that I'm getting the sense that my own club spread a sort of did a little disinfo op against their own supporters by kind of whispering that Trevor's health was Tiffany, whatever. One of them has a health problem, and so that's really why they're going to step away. Like, no, no, no. In fact, if you cut people loose while they're sick and claim it's for their own good, that is some demented anti-disability shit right there. That I hope is not what's going on. Um, the my impression, and I don't want to handle this journalistically. Okay, um, I could, get sources, do all that. But I have a sense of the outlines of this, and that sense is uh, possibly like the way it could be wrong is that I haven't gotten a lot of input from the front office on this. Right, there could be details that turn the card. Right. What, like, for example, if there's something embarrassing that they can't that was part of the pretext of the firing, um it's reasonable is that you don't share that with your friends when you're talking about it, right? So I consider myself a friend of Trev, um and I wouldn't be like completely stunned if they were like, well, there's this other thing, that happened that this is why we did it right now, um but I would be stunned if it was anything other than pretextual. If it was like, I would probably, it's, I'm guessing that if there's a thing like that, that it's something that we might be like, really? Because let's be clear, Trevor deserves a lot of credit for City's credibility in a soccer sense. Um, at this stage in the game. When he came on to us, we did not have a lot of credibility. We were a very loud NPSL team. We played 3 months a year. Um, the real soccer heads, a lot of times, were pretty dismissive of the project. Right? Like, okay, you're getting folks to watch your summer team, great, but it's a whole different thing to like staff a technical infrastructure and pay players and like build up an actual club team at the top level. Um and City progressed through that very smoothly. um Became the most credible team in Nisa immediately. um and there were sides that were putting more money in Nisa, if you can believe it, and sides that had a multiple year head start on being professional in Nisa. And yet, when we arrived there, we were clearly the top dogs. Um, it was us and Chattanooga, and it didn't take long for us to separate from Chattanooga. Um, and that was Trev, like 100%. Um, so that really, that made us like, okay, there's an important stepping stone, right? We were very good at that level. We became professional, and that was the first time we were a really dominant team. um and that it's that credibility that allowed that had USL saying, okay, yeah, we would love to have you. Um, and I also know that if Trev had had his way, we would have gone into USL League One because he knew what the budget was. And he's like, that's a League One budget. Like, it's kind of a lower half League One budget. Like, wow. And they were like, nope, that's the budget and championship. And, so then you got that crazy, like, rubber band and duct tape group that somehow came together in 22 with Antoine and Pato, um,
Declan.
yeah, Declan. You had Maxi with a lot to prove and a chip on his shoulder. Coming back into the USL Championship, um, and it was great stuff. And then when they kicked him upstairs, it was really that was not his idea to become just the sporting director. He wanted to be the manager. They disagreed after 23, and I respected the decision of the front office there. Felt like the results pointed toward um, a um, a manager who could build a lot of structure and build a team that really fought for each other and that had a lot of emotional and tactical depth, but that struggled to create the fluidity that goals need. So okay, all right, we're going to move on from that, right? But Trev's got this, it's still his project. He moves upstairs. Um, in my view, what happened since then is we hired Danny. I think we tried to hire Dom Cassiato out of Union Omaha. He just went to Tampa Bay. I think he turned us down, and we went with Danny, who was one of the very leading candidates all across the league. He was the top assistant at Sacramento. Sacramento had been very good, very professional. So makes sense. And you know what concerns me overall is that I worry that this is one of those.
Did you
The
hit me,
club
Sean? Oh, there you
mutating
go.
into something new. Yeah.
Hey,
Huh?
Sean, why don't you
Oh,
repeat that, Sean? Because you like cut out for
oh,
like.
it just said all of a sudden it said my internet connection is unstable, which never happens. What the fuck? I have like,
Great. Front office is kicking into our channel.
yeah,
Great. Just
oh,
great. They don't,
so
they're missing the message.
they conspire. No, like I think that like when I look at this situation, I feel like I feel like I can feel the club mutating in as it happens. That we're moving away. Like I know that Trevor and Tiffany bought a home here, fairly recently. Um, and it feels like the kind of thing you do either as an investment in a growing area. I don't know, maybe they've got like investment money. I don't know. Um, but typically you do that because you feel secure in your position and you're planning to stay for a while, right? That's the usual context of I'm buying a home here. Um, so yeah, I don't understand how we really got here because the results in 23 were enough to get the guy who like lifted us out of amateurism canned. And those same results this year somehow get the sporting director canned. Like what? I don't understand. There seems to be plenty there, that roster has plenty of talent. Uh, is it light in midfielders? Yeah, probably. Like, okay. I don't think that, uh, you know, I think you could plan around that. Um, and I just don't see the problem as like the pile of talent provided to Danny. I see the problem as the way the talent is deployed and the way the players are developed or not developed. Um, we're seeing Darren Smith shrink to like 8 inches tall right in front of us. What, you know, coach him up. What the fuck? Like you're the guy, now clearly. This is what my understanding is that um Danny gets on well with members of ownership, with specifically with the millionaire, right? Uh, and so I'm concerned as a longtime city supporter that this has the fingerprints of the money getting involved, right? Um, I'm all right with having a pocket millionaire as long as he stays in the fucking pocket. But like as soon as you want to weigh in on who's doing what and who deserves whatever, like fuck you, go away. You bought into this as a silent partner. Go be silent. All right, that's what I'm
That
worried
our
about
front
right now.
office said wanted to remain behind the spotlight, that did not announce who he was
Like
until Christmas week 2022 at 11 o'clock p.m.
you know
behind the
how
Detroit
you
News
know how
paywall.
you know how it happens. Like this shit is like candy for bored rich dudes, right? They get to play football manager for realsies. And the problem is that like then we have to live with the reality, the shitty, stupid, devalued, nihilistic reality they create. And
Yeah.
I'm fucking sick of acting like our current world is some kind of inevitability. It is a series of choices made by people in power. Those people in power have consistently chosen to further empower themselves at the expense of everyone else or anyone else. That is the root of our problem. We cannot become great through selfishness. We cannot. We've proven it. We've tried it. We're in the toilet because of it. And this, like, as above, so below, like in our club here today, it just feels like a little bit of enshittification, you know? Like we let this dude who's kind of probably should be a statue, we just kind of canned him on a Tuesday. Uh like that's it. Okay. Awesome. Uh like
With a misleading post about it and then having to like not really tell us it. Like we had to click
well,
something and then learn what the fuck it was.
the thing that's frustrating is I'm sure that when I was separated from Detroit City Football Club, if I wanted the severance stuff, I had to sign an NDA. And I am guessing that a similar thing applies. Uh, it's, and it's the way these motherfuckers cover their tracks. Like like, okay, I can make a shitty decision that hurts someone I should be grateful to, and I'm not ever going to have to answer for it. And frankly, I'll act a little bit offended if I'm asked to answer for it. And that's the world we live in. It's neo-feudal. And I fucking hate it. Go ahead.
Your turn, Adam.
Yeah, I was leading up to this, um it seemed like we were kind of getting, you know, go back and listen to, some of the episodes that we put out throughout the, God, how long have we been doing this particular show now? It's been quite some time.
Like a year and a half.
Um,
Almost a year
yeah,
and a half, believe it or not.
yeah. It just seemed like something was brewing, and this thing it wasn't going to end well. And given the thing, given how this season has gone, um, given how last season ended, disappointing home loss to the Rowdies. You figure that that was something that, you come back and, kind of capitalize on that a little bit. We're going to come back stronger, and we're going to kind of run roughshod through the East. And, we're coming back with, Maxi is gone, but we've got this new deeper roster. We're going to kind of go in a different direction. We're going to go outside of Maxi, and things are going to be different. And it looked like that was going to be the case earlier on in this year. And everything seemed great. Like things were clicking. Darren Smith was scoring goals, something that we haven't gotten out of a striker since Jean-Claude Lawson was gracing us with his presence back in um, the beginning of Nisa. And all seemed right with the world until we kind of hit that wall that was the month of May. And we are still hitting that wall right now. And I'm with you, Sean. Like when I first heard the news, it was surprising, but then it wasn't because um like I said, I think me myself, I don't want to speak for you guys, that I had the feeling that things were going to end badly. Like none of this was going to be pretty. It was going to be a very, very messy separation, given the stuff that we were hearing, in the front office, you know, struggles up there, and, potential issues in the locker room, so on and so forth. And then it happened. It came to a head, and I had my concerns about how this thing kind of transpired. From that traditional, I think, sporting perspective, with this, because when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this from how other teams do business in professional sports. How the Lions might do this, or how the Red Wings might do this, or any other professional team around the United States might do this. Around the world, if you want to open it up to that. Because to me, the way that I see this isn't the traditional strategic route that professional teams embark on when it comes to making changes at the top.
Yeah.
It's not something you do because you set a precedent for yourself, and you set this you put this image on yourself when you open yourself up to other teams and other players. Because if Trevor's gone, okay, why isn't Danny gone too? So we're just going to go and get another sporting director now, which is what they said they're going to do. That's not me spitballing here. That's something that they said that they were going to do in that release. Am I correct?
They are beginning the extensive search for a sporting director with that's somewhere in that vicinity. I don't have it right
Okay.
in front of my eyes.
Right. So
Okay.
so like what I'm concerned with, and I think what you're talking about is that like I feel like this is a thing that happens in like South America and like Eastern Europe more than like the areas most of our listeners would be familiar with. But a
Mhm.
manager who is capable of kind of creating a political constituency for himself within the club, and who starts to kind of wag the dog. Um, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, are we about to get like, okay, these results that Danny has produced with this roster, which was, I would say, pretty clearly superior to the roster in 2023, with the exception of the defense being 2 years older.
Mhm.
Um, uh, those results got Trev canned, right? Um, and so there's two possibilities here. One is that they're about to hire a sporting director that is someone Danny has suggested would be a good fit, and that this is the completion of Danny. This is basically what we're looking at in the federal government today, the kind of the steady removal of any blocks to impediments to your power, right? Okay, well, Trev's a voice against me, and the results are terrible. I'm going to blame him, shuffle him off. I'm going to convince everybody in the room that this is a great idea. I don't know. Maybe that's happening. Or here's my hope. Okay. My hope is that the front office is looking at this and looking at our roster and saying, okay, this is a slow motion train wreck. Like, the core of the roster is aging quickly and like was just at its very best, good enough for a USL championship. Um, and they're producing terrible results, and some of them are very frustrated with Danny, and that's created cliques within the squad, and Danny's carried out kind of pogroms against certain players who just like vanish for weeks and then reappear. um
Or go away completely to Oakland in the Maury Donor case.
right. um the like if this is the beginning of them saying, okay, yeah, we need a complete reset here, and we don't want to just we need to get somebody in and start recruiting for next year. So we're going to get rid of Danny. We're going to get rid of Trev because he's got a longer contract. We're going to pay him severance, and we're going to get rid of him right now. And that'll do two things. One, that'll start us for next year. Like we decide we need a clean reset. Okay, this is going to be hard, but we're going to start right now. And we're going to let Trev go, recruit a new sporting director, and they're going to start to put players into place uh, for 26. And Danny's contract's up at the end of the year. So unless he performs absolute miracles, like loaves and fishes type miracles, like 13-game winning streak, something like that, um, then we just wish him well at the end of the contract. Like, we don't have to pay him severance. We don't have to do a bunch of bullshit. It's just like, yep, that's the end of your contract. Thanks, guys. And we'll bring the next guy in. And then you've made your complete reset with what you hope is the minimum dislocation, right? And it also allows the new guy to ruthlessly go through this roster in a way that maybe you're afraid that Trev wouldn't do, because he's got such deep relationships with so many of these guys. I don't think that's the case. I think Trev turns on the ruthless switch and like goes and does his work, but I think that's how they all do it. Um, But in that case, what we would be seeing is them kind of restructuring the recruitment department and making it a kind of modern recruitment department where they're going to consider data, da da da. You're going to bring in maybe two or three guys to do the work that Trev was doing of scouting, assessment and all that. In a kind of modern, scouting and data setup, that isn't, kind of driven by one guy's brain and history. Um, uh, that's what I'm looking for now, right? Is what's the next move? Uh, I have heard rumor that they were preparing a multi-year extension for Danny. So it goes without saying that it's the first thing, if we hear that, right? It's the consolidation of power, um, around Danny Dicchio, and that I think it sucks. I think it is a shitty way to run any human organization. I think that all of the dark tetrad need to be kept firmly in check within organizations, and if you want to talk about something you need to be ruthless about, that's it. like skullduggery, political maneuvering, power players, all that shit. Like, no, no, no. Like, I don't want it. Um, and not from like, the manager. And,
That's
you know, I don't know. I don't know. I feel, uh, you know, I feel a bit jokerish right
and
now.
that's kind of, I mean, that's kind of where I was, like coming from, Sean, because I know about the rumor because you mentioned it, and that's kind of what's concerning about all of this too. Like, if they go on and they have this miraculous turnaround where they make the playoffs and they win a playoff game, and they want to sit down and look at this, and they want to give Danny a 2-year extension, then fine, fine. But if they're going to do that, the new sporting director needs to make that move, because what kind of sporting director, and you see this all the time, what kind of sporting director is going to want to come in here? What serious sporting director is going to want to come in here, take on a job where the coach has been handpicked for them? They have zero input on that. If they're coming in and they're able to evaluate that themselves and be like, hey, you know what? I think I want to keep Danny Dicchio around a little bit longer, and I want to see what he does. I want to offer him a 2-year contract and see what happens from there. I want to bring in my own team to, have him work with them, and we'll see how things work out. But right now, we're hearing the rumor about him, getting a 2-year extension, right before Trevor gets canned. Now that, I mean, that to me, that that's not the right pattern that you're supposed to work with all of this right now.
Right.
If you want to clear house at the end of the year, then fine. But if you're getting rid of your sporting director right now, why
While you're in a
is why,
playoff race.
while you're in a playoff race? Because that's the excuses that we've been hearing from some supporters at this time right now. Oh, they don't want to get rid of Danny right now because we're in the middle of a playoff race, and who knows what could happen with that. Okay, fair enough. But why do you get rid of Trevor? Why do you get rid of Trevor James at this point right now,
Yeah.
to bring in somebody completely new, and who may or may not
They
have.
might not even be bringing it in. They might be doing the interviews to try to eventually. Who knows how the fuck long that's going
Well,
to
yeah,
I
take?
mean, yeah,
and who
we'll
may
see.
who
We'll
may
see
have a
what happens.
total
Like, yeah, no idea what's
yeah
going on there.
who
And
may
we'll
have a
find
totally
out.
different vision than what Danny has right now. And I don't know, it just seems like a giant mess, the way they went about things, because again, there's not many general managers out there. There's not many sporting directors out there, I'm assuming, that are going to want to take a job where they are essentially where they essentially had their own head coach handpicked for them, where they can't choose their own guy.
Right.
Shit doesn't work.
Well,
Shit typically doesn't work like that.
okay.
Um,
So, like, if you're coming in as a general manager now, they'll probably call you a general manager, not a sporting director, because you're,
sure.
whatever. But if you're coming in,
This is
in,
America, Sean.
in the player acquisition spot, whatever you call it, um, and Danny's, you're told that Danny's going to be here, for the rest of this year, the next 2 years minimum. Um, and he's going to tell you, like, you're going to wind up just kind of being the assistant of his that makes all the fucking phone calls for him,
You'll be a
you
figurehead.
know?
You'll be
Well,
a
I mean, yeah,
figurehead.
like he's going to say, I want this guy, I want this guy, I want this guy. And then you're going to have to go do all the work to get that guy. And you may do evaluations that say, okay, well, maybe this dude is a similar dude who would be better, like, and is available cheaper. And like, no, 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 my guys, like, bring them in, and it's how you wind up, like, it's the like we'll call that move the policey from this point forward. Um, he'll he'll police the shit out of us. Um,
The Nick Dasovich influence move, because that was Police was definitely Nick Dasovich
like,
all over it. Mm.
like, I mean, you know, it is hard to it's hard to judge the level between different leagues. Really difficult. And I have a feeling that they just had a lot of film, of him from the Canadian League, and what we've learned is okay, they're like that is a pretty clear cut below the championship. Like, okay, he was pretty
They didn't.
persuasive in the Canadian League,
They
and
didn't
he's
even
he
announce in
is
that
like
press release that he was hurt
behind.
last year.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the other thing. But I mean, yeah, like that kind of thing. It feels like a sinecure, right? Like we just burned a contract on a dude who like was at his best maybe at a substitute level, and is coming off a year-long injury. It's like we're just kind of like a
And
wayward
who did we
home,
let go to Indy?
right? A wayward home for lost, for broken toys. Like, oh, um, and I I haven't seen anything that makes me like, talking about Polisi now that I, memed him. Uh, I I don't
So
see. I have nothing to fault about his effort. Right. Just we had questions at the beginning about his level, and everything about his play since his arrival has
He had
confirmed
he had one of the best
those
goals
questions.
off a
one of the
header we've
yeah,
seen all season.
the
Unfortunately,
best Detroit City,
it was in the
maybe
wrong net.
top three Detroit City FC own goal in club history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. uh, um, I covered the fire when what was his name? Was it Arthur? They had a Brazilian, one name Brazilian.
Artur,
They had
Artur.
a one name Brazilian center back who got two own goals in a game.
Oh,
Uh,
seems like an Artur.
what's his fucking name? I think it was Arthur. I'm completely blanking on his name, but that's because I've had COVID twice, and I'm probably gonna get dementia in the next like 18 months. My God, sorry, my cats are like fighting on the chair behind me, boys. Fuck,
They're
They're
like
fired up.
they're
They're
like you.
fired up
they
about
are.
this.
They're like
They
you
are.
recorded yesterday. Why are you
Yeah,
fucking doing
exactly.
this
That is
again?
exactly what's going
The
on right now.
episode no one's ever gonna see.
The mystery episode. They were like 2 hours, and now you're
Oh,
on again. This is bullshit.
well, it's not our fault.
Settle down, Pony. It's Pony. He's just camped on the chair behind me. He's like, yeah, I'm staying. Okay,
Oh
I
well,
will sit
damn it.
on about 4 inches of chair. Cool. We got this. Um,
Cat session
yeah, this
101.
is this is why the cats are important to me. They're an important mental health break. Um, I there's something that could change this, right? We could find out that there was some cause to this. Um, and so I just want to like throw that out there as a possibility. Like, look, if there's some cause, um, then them staying quiet about it, um, is very polite to whoever did the wrong. But rather impolite to the supporters who don't know. And like that's the thing to me is this is once again a situation that feels like it's been managed by Chat GPT or something. Like they were like, Chat, I've got to dump a popular kind of cult figure from my that my fan base might riot about. How to handle, and
Not enough ums, depending on who it
and
was that was doing the GPT
and
search.
they're like, and Chat GPT was like, say nothing in public. Okay, well, great strategy. That won't cause a million conspiracy.
Village Family 101 tactic.
Well, I mean, have you met Americans in 2025? Like, we're going to come up with fucking conspiracies about it. You need to lead with a little bit of fucking transparency. And the fact that they're not tells me that like the conspiracy that we were worried was happening is maybe what's going on, right? Like that's, you know, we've got a certain other conspiracy in the national news right now that like seems like it's pretty clear what's up. Like, oh, okay, like this is real, and this dude is like, a pedophile. And yeah, I guess we're just gonna have that out in the public space. Like, okay, uh, comment or not, everyone's like, shh, okay. And this feels kind of the same to me. I don't know, like really frustrating lack of
Transparency.
transparency. And you know, like I said, the fact that I heard from kind of front office adjacent supporter types that was things about health, and then those insinuations were like vehemently denounced when I asked uh, the subjects. Um, Makes me think that that was the extent of the transparency, was a little disinfo op through supporter channels, like weak.
I have this great fear, y'all, as I'm reading the sense of the clubs having a search for the beginning the search for a sporting director. Normally, when I see clubs in other parts of the world, when they do a department transaction move, departure move like this, they sort of have a plan in place for the interim, right? In the place while we look for somebody, this person's going to be covering it.
Yep,
And
100%.
let me ask, and we've seen this before in the club, in the women's side in 2022, when Sam Pirani left, and there was this extensive search there. Oh, we're going to be getting the search. And then they stayed in their own, and a front office person became the head coach in Dave Dwayhe. Granted, we've enjoyed it. Dave Dwayhe's help been massive to that. We talked about going into the club. Why do I get this feeling that they might repeat the formula again with Dave here until they do the sporting until while they're looking for the sporting director? Or am I just thinking of the past too much and it's going to be just like the present in the future?
I I don't know. Sean, are you
Was
muted?
my mic off? Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. The cats were crawling on me. I turned the mic off. Uh, uh you know, Dave does work for the club now, and his approach, I think, would very likely be very similar to what I just described in the kind of reset idea, where it's like, okay, we're going to build a modern structure that has like, lots of input and lots of decision makers, and it's not like a one guy shop. Um, that would be hopeful to me, and I think that's probably exactly what he would do, uh, because he's, remarkably ego free.
Right. The
He's,
patron saint of
well, he's
VFO.
like, and that means that there's a whole spectrum of solutions that become available, that are cut out by most people of sufficient ego to take those jobs, right? Um, so yeah, that would be fairly exciting, um, to me, just because I, I'm drinking the Dwayne juice, that shit is like, I think he's a special person. Um, And I think there are other special people within the ownership group. I just worry that what's happening is that their voice is being diminished and diminished and diminished over time. And
By
that
money.
the money is just wedging itself in relentlessly. Like, okay, well, if you want to keep doing it, then you're going to spend it on this, and you're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we like, I want, like, there's things you can do that aren't just about votes.
And I
Um,
think about the new investors, that minimum, the people that are putting the minimum of $250,000, maybe putting
right.
more into these investments, raising what, 10 million or whatever.
Right. You get a whole, so we're going to have a whole crowd of you know, lesser gentry, in around the club. And the thing that happens is the thing that happens to all, like, very many rich people. I'm going to generalize now, so I don't get a bunch of you know, fucking capitalists in my mentions.
Rich bros,
Um, the
head
tendency for
bros.
tendency for rich people, for wealthy people, is to be a little bit, from somewhere between a little bit and astonishingly overconfident in their own abilities to handle a new thing. Um, and that plays out, in predictable ways that I don't need to belabor at this point. Everyone's probably had a personal interaction with a thing that is failing because a confident billionaire has ruined it, right? Um, and uh, I worry that this process is sort of inevitable when you get around something that's like both difficult and fascinating and deep, like football. It is a sort of candy. Um, and maybe you're a secret genius at it. Maybe, you know, it's possible. It's not probable, but possible. And the problem is that I could see how anyone would be drawn to that, especially when you when you start to realize you barely, just kind of by existing and like expressing your opinion, you're kind of exerting power in the room. You're able to just sort of push it your direction. And then you hook up with a coach who's like, you know, you feel like you got a good vibe, and this dude is like, need some direct investment in certain things. And so you do that because you got tons of money, and he wants like shit that costs like $50,000 or $100,000. Like, all right, who cares? Like, there you go. But the problem is that like the club has a budget, and there's a way for the things to be budgeted. And when you start doing things outside the budget for the club, um, the power dynamic around the club starts to wobble pretty hard. Um, and the supporters who have poured themselves into the enterprise from the beginning, without recompense, right? Are steadily removed from the conversation, while the wannabe manager, who's now the owner, and all his little sub owners that are also similarly football curious, um, like they're the entire committee. That's the voices that are heard. Um, and it doesn't matter how much you want to stay connected to your roots. If you sell your roots and let them be raised, like, how did you really want it? What you wanted was money, right? And uh like, maybe there are they've thought long and hard about these problems, and they have internal checks and balances that keep the kind of things I'm worried about from coming to fruition. Um, but again, this is one of those situations that I think would be great to have a little transparency about who's in the meetings, what's going on, why has
Yeah.
our club let Trevor James go on a Tuesday morning with no explanation and no warning. Like, what?
The fuck.
That's my yeah. That was my initial reaction, and really, honestly, whatever, 10 and a half hours later, that's kind of still my reaction. It's like, what the fuck? Ah,
The club gave more of a direct impression, a direct intention announcing Cy Goddard's mutual termination with the club than they did Trevor James.
mm-hmm,
In my
mm-hmm.
honest fucking opinion.
Yeah,
Vincenzo Candela. Any other they did Trevor James almost as dirty as the NISA people that they did not announce the departure of for USL going in the USL Championship, the Cyrus Sadies, the George Chamakovs. To me, it reminds me awfully similar. That what I saw this morning gave me a lot of that similar thing.
So,
Um, and
so, like, yeah, it feels like they're like in some like kind of call like this. I used to compare MLS taking over your club to being colonized or being sort of parasitized, right? That you the kind of the shell of your club still walks around, but you know it smells weird and doesn't react to any of your jokes and it's just a lumbering, undead thing. Um, and um, yeah, I worry that that's happening. Uh, I've worried that it has happened. Um,
I
because
think it
my
has
my
happened.
experience is that by the time you're worried about it, you're already fucked. That's kind of the lesson of the last like maybe quarter century. So uh, yeah, it's a problem. I don't like it. Don't like it.
And if you're
Um,
not transparent about it, then people start making assumptions and making up their own news regarding it,
and
which,
you lose the trust of those supporters who have sacrificed everything, time, hours, years, anything for that in the name of this football club.
Yeah, and the fact that these people kind of like folks that I know kind of got a similar trust me bro like talk, it sounds like, uh in preparation for this announcement coming down. Um that must have intimated about someone's health. Um that really, that's the opposite of transparency. That is,
Cover your
um
tracks and hope they don't bite. I hope they
well, it's
don't.
disinformation,
Yeah.
and frankly, it's the kind of thing that you shouldn't be whispering. Like if it's a health thing, then that should be something that the only way, like if you're firing them because they have a health problem and it's something they don't want to disclose and they don't feel is impacting their work, like then you're like possibly firing, you were astride the at least the intent of disability law. And maybe this is just the club like letting us know that they're about to trumpet, what the lesson they've learned is get yours, bitch. Like okay, awesome. I will get my shotgun out. Ah, I'll be drinking bleach. Thanks. I really, I wrote an essay about the fire in 2012 that my heart was not a thing I uh, wished to be plundered. Um, and yeah, here we are.
um,
Adam, you talked about sporting directors um, that would not be interested potentially in coming here if they're not allowed to have the say in the coaching. Here's another one. The current run of form, the body language we've seen of the players, what we've got in the wind of with, player frustration in that. Players talk in this league. So when they see something like this, and the one that is the current manager who has we're seeing that maybe the person responsible sounds like the person responsible for this loss of confidence, loss of form, um causing the players to look checked out and everything. Who else will want to come here?
well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you've got a, I mean, that's why this whole thing is messy right now. And I mean it's leading to, some,
Right. We
like
may
you mentioned,
record
some.
in two, like, because we're gonna like, we mentioned this a bunch in the lost recording.
That you'll
But
never ever see.
well, we're not recording next week, and because there's no league match, and the yeah, it'll be 2 weeks until we're back. And we'll probably, hopefully, we'll have some more clarity. Either that, or we'll be in like complete paranoid, like conspiracy overdrive. I'll actually wear a tinfoil hat. I'll have to find a camera just to show you that I'm wearing a tinfoil hat.
Or we're
Um,
legitimately told to fuck off.
I mean, here's the thing, like, um, I know some of these people, and they could very easily say that I only know one side of it, and that might be true. But what is also true is that I have asked them for their side of it repeatedly, and they have given me zero indication that they've even received the messages, right? Besides the red receipts, like, okay, well, I know you saw it. Like, at 11:30 this morning. you know
Try to MacGyver their way out of the conversation.
well, like,
You see, this is something that I
we
mean,
don't
you
know. It's
need.
just it's fresh, like, and yeah, I just like, you really need to be able to, you need to get ahead of it. Like, really, yeah, you know
But these
uh,
are these are questions you have to be prepared to answer, though. I mean,
As a
you
professional sports club,
yes, you make these moves. These are hard moves to make
right,
and not answer questions about. I mean,
right,
it's I mean, you have to be prepared for something like that. You have to be prepared for a statement that isn't just some, oh, well, we thank Trevor James for everything he's giving us, and put a bunch of, graphics up there of Trevor holding up trophies, and which doesn't help your case here in any
exactly. It's like,
sense.
fucking
exactly.
pissed us off. That's what it does.
I mean, why are you getting rid of the guy holding up a bunch of trophies? And
Like, and you're
that
doing it
it's
at the moment when you're like kind of at your low ebb, right? You just completely fallen down the stairs. It stood up to step on a couple rakes. You're just like staggering forward, barely competitive in a league that is not difficult this year. Like, it's fairly even, but like, if we were playing well, we could,
yes,
like, we
absolutely.
have there's enough ability on this squad that if we were playing well, we wouldn't be anything like this. The vibe would be completely different.
The only reason why we're in a playoff spot right now is because the East is awful. The
Right,
East is bad
Dumpster
right now.
fire.
right,
Yes.
right. There's so many teams that are just like stumbling around like we are. And yeah, I just don't. It's so,
It's just messy. Questions need to be answered.
yeah,
Um,
I think they do understand that I'm a friend of Trevor's, right? Um, and that, I mean, because we were like, when I was working for the club, it was when he came in. Like, we, had a lot of slow time when he was new and like doing player search, and like, so we, hang out in the afternoon, um, while I kind of waited for the bar to open. And um, so, we know each other a bit. And that for that reason, I under that, like, that closeness makes me question myself, right? Because I uh, done a lot of journalism, and I know that um, people who do bad things, right, things that are wrong, um, that you don't, like, the first thing you do, you don't go tell everyone you know and everyone who likes you. Uh, you exist in a denial for a while. But when I reached out to these people, like, repeatedly, oh, hey, so what's going on with this? What the hell? What the fuck? And like just dead silence. Like, oh, is this my assumption is that like the abruptness of it and the way that it was phrased with immediate effect, it's the kind of thing you say when you're like telling somebody like the security is going to watch you empty your desk and then they're going to walk you out. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
um and like, which unimaginable, like what the fuck, um and then like, so I reach out to everybody and then I hear the health things and I'm like, huh. And I learned that that's not true. So that's odd. And I've heard nothing else from anyone around the club. And there's been nothing public facing from anyone around the club. Uh, and it's just fucking weird. Like, what is going
There's
on?
even other
Well,
questions that we don't know about.
like, is there a silent coup happening in there? There people like, is there a revolt going on? Did they say, hey, we're going to get rid of Trevor? And like, a bunch of front office people were like, are you serious? Trevor and Tiffany, you like, it's the heart and the soul. Like, let's are you fucking serious? I don't know. Like, who knows? No
And
way.
not to,
So
and not
I'm
to
just
mention,
saying, like y'all, like if you're hearing this and you're like, oh, well, I know the situation, and I could tell you on background. You got my contact information. Like, get a hold of me. Like, we want to know what the fuck is going on here because it
And
just at some
people
level
in the
doesn't
front
make a lot of
office have
sense.
been on our shows before.
Right.
The
I mean,
offer's always there.
yeah, I think we've had Dave on. You've had Sean on. Um,
And Alex
and
and
Alex, right?
yeah.
and
Um,
um, and not to mention too, I mean, we need to know what's going on with Danny because typically when you fire your sporting director, is the head coach next? Is, there's, like you said, there's the rumor about him sticking around. I mean,
Well, yeah. Are they
this stuff needs to be
automatically
addressed.
devolving all of Trevor's like recruitment uh responsibilities to Danny? Or Danny
Yeah,
and his crew? Like
yeah.
that?
I
Like,
mean,
okay, what? All right. Um,
even again,
Are we
even
about to see
in
an overhaul this season?
yeah,
yeah.
even in professional sports too, you always hear about, and it may be the kiss of death in some sense, but you might hear Jerry Jones go out and give his head coach the vote of confidence. Oh, we're not going to go and fire him. He has my vote of confidence. Okay, that's, and even that is something. It's okay. Well, it sounds like he's going to stick with them for the rest of the year, and then they're going to reevaluate things. I mean, we know that Danny, for the most part, it seems that Danny doesn't have a contract beyond this season. Okay, well, that just raises
Correct.
more questions at this point right now. If Danny doesn't have a contract going into next season and you just fired your sporting director, what does that mean? Tell
Yeah.
us what that means
Right.
because this is no longer
You
an amateur side anymore.
you
This
need
is
to
a
be signing
professional
players
side.
for like, you need to be, like in contact with agents with an eye towards signing players. Like, it's after July 1st. You can sign people.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
you can sign people
And
for
you
Absolutely.
next
need to
year.
impress your current crop of players to stay with this team
Right.
if you want them to stay.
Right. Here's okay. So, if I were one of the NISA All-Star guys, I would be, figuring out my next move. Right. Get your resume up because I think the chop is a coming. Uh, Now you can say in the fight, no one's gonna no one's gonna blame you if you do, but like, I think it's gonna be an uphill fight for most of the NISA guys. Um, when a new sporting director comes in, they're immediately going to like, okay, I think we need to look at everything that they're doing today with a window toward 2027 when realistically the stadium is going to be open.
Fingers
Um,
crossed.
right. So they're looking at, it looks to me like they're looking at the roster right now and they're going, okay, uh, we need to plan for 2027. And Stephen Carroll's 31, right? Like, oh, okay. So we how old then? Like, how old Devin going to be then? Okay, ooh. Uh, you know,
Michael, Matt Sheldon,
right.
Ryan Williams.
They're just aging out. Um, it's normal. It's a normal life cycle of a footballer, a professional athlete.
Even Devin. Yeah.
Yeah. And um, yeah, I think that, maybe uh that's the plan. Because if I'm coming in as a sporting director right now, like 2025, it is what it is. Like, try to find out if there are any offers out there, any deals pending, but you're pretty much gonna like just let it ride, with the idea like you're going to spend all your time trying to build for 2026 and 2027, because that's the club's entire focus is being very is good on in 2027. um we want to be
Not
a
being a candidate for relegation when Pro Rel kicks in.
right, and we don't want to have we don't want to bring out a premiere a brand new stadium with the side that's like 3, 4, and 12. Like, all right, it's our new stadium. We are, you got kind of results that like the Las Vegas Lights have gotten this year. Like,
The only team below us in John Morrissey's power rankings.
yep. Least in
Yeah.
the East right now. Look, um, results are king, right? All of this, like I say, um, the the thing about results is that they are an implacable god, right?
Mhm.
Like, you do this and we're like, fuck you, are you fucking crazy? Let's say they just win out from here. Like, whoa, the god has spoken. The god of results has laid its hand upon this decision and said this was the right decision. And it doesn't matter if it's actually related, our perception of it will 100% be that it's related. And uh, so, that's why they play the games, right?
You had a great
Yeah.
comment in the Lost episode yesterday, Sean.
I like how
Uh,
that's now referred to as a lost episode.
We were talking about the nil-nil Dower Fest, the on the field Pittsburgh Riverhounds, because you should have been, you really should have, you got to picture what we were saying. Um, the experience, the atmosphere, great weather on Friday, entertainment in the concourse with the pro wrestling, the NGS call to action banners, um, that had the intent in that, and the match didn't. And obviously, Sean, you made a mention. It sold out, and part of it was because hey, it was a great day, it was great forecast, and everything like that. But obviously, the concern was, is the club going to see that sellout crowd and be considerate? Like, oh yeah, people will still come regardless of the performance. I really, now that this announcement's happened, less than 24 hours since we were recording, more like 13 or 14 to be honest. Um, I really hope they're not going in that direction and thinking, "Oh, people will still come."
I
I
don't think
really
they
hope
are.
that's
I mean,
not
I
it.
like, you know, you think, okay, I mean, I've thought every crazy thing, right? I think I went through the stages of grief on this very rapidly while making pizzas today. Um, and um, I, I, I worry that this is the death of the club that, um, or it's the notification of the death of the club that I love, and that the club will has become undying, and in so doing has shed its soul and its personality, in favor of a corporate blandness and a like private equity vibe.
Yeah. Uh, Adam, you got anything else you want to add?
No, like I said, I mean, I said enough, and I
I
mean, it.
sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead,
Sorry.
Sean.
What about you,
I
Sean?
I just, I really hope that it is something that it unfolds over the next week and a half that we're entirely overreacting to this. I don't think it will. I think that we're I mean, there's a reason we're saying these things because we believe them. But
We live them.
yeah, I hope for my own humiliation in this matter.
Yeah, I just want, like you're mentioning, Sean, that transparency goes a long way, especially in these circumstances. This is messy. I don't think it had to be messy offhand. Um, it's my feeling on it. Um, whether that's true or not, hopefully we find that out within the next, like you mentioned, like you just said, Sean, too, within the next week or so. Hope sooner rather than later would certainly be helpful for, a lot of, people out there. What does this mean for, the front office? What does this mean for Trevor? Or not, I mean, obviously, know what this means for Trevor. What does it mean for Danny? Is Danny coming back? Is he going to be re-signed? Is he coaching for his job right now?
Like
Which I
honestly,
certainly think is going to be the case because he doesn't have a contract for next
right,
year. But
if they just
these,
sent if they just sent like an email that said like, I know this is alarming, we do have a plan, like
Mhm.
any kind of like
That's
gesturing to
something.
right something. Okay, well, like I mean, I feel like I'm asking for Q to drop a fucking nugget on me, like
and yeah,
like
and
just
it,
like they're just like you're gonna be that fucking inscrutable, like god damn it, dude.
but
Like
you, and
like your circle of trust is like your own fucking anus right now.
oh God.
Cut it out.
So
But yeah,
deep. Deep.
just going out and saying, "Oh, we're searching for a new sporting director." Okay, well, what does that mean then? Does that mean that that sporting director is going to have to accept Danny as his new head coach? Because again, that's not how shit usually works with all of this. And does if they're bringing in a new sporting director, does that mean that they get full autonomy in how this front office is going to be ran? Does that mean that they're going to be able to evaluate Danny at the end of the season, or now for that matter? If they want to come in and can Danny now based on results, are they going to be able to do that? Because given some of the stuff we've heard, it doesn't seem like that may be the case. Prove us wrong, or
Say something.
or just yeah, just say something to let us know the direction of this club right now in a very, very important time, because we highlighted it in the last episode too. This is a very, very um important time for the club, as so it would seem they're getting ready to make some pretty massive steps here. um, what
Right.
does all of this mean? It's you're not just getting rid of some, of some marketing manager in the front office or anything like that. You got rid of a guy who directed your club from the amateur level to the pro level, and I'm not. Again, we talk about this being
The
thrown around
reason
on
why you
other
have a
shows
trophy
before.
case in the
Hold on a
clubhouse.
second. Hold on a second. This is a guy who is a club legend.
He's
We need to
legitimately a
know
legend, right?
he's
Exactly.
legitimately a legend. This isn't some guy this isn't Cy Goddard who has been here for, a year, and people like to throw around the city legend thing with him when he leaves. Trevor James is legitimately a
Yeah, we're not
city
saying this
legend.
Aaron
ironically.
Beebo, City
We're not saying
Yes.
we're not saying this
Yes.
ironically.
People
Trevor
said
is a
that about, yeah, people said that about Cy Goddard, I'm pretty sure. City legend Cy Goddard. No,
They said it about Vincenzo Candela too.
this is Trevor motherfucking James. What is going on with all of this?
yeah.
Why we need to know, we need some transparency on why an actual club legend was jettisoned on a Tuesday morning, um
In the
in the
manner
middle of
that he was.
in July. So yes, please let us know what's going on with this club, because we still have until October of when this season is going to wrap up. That's a lot of time still. Let us know,
Hmm.
please, please, please let us know what's going on. So we're not making assumptions. So we're not um sitting here, potentially talking out of our ass in some sense. Maybe. Who knows?
More than
Who
what we usually
knows?
do.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean, let us know what's going on. Please. Please, please, please. And Matt
I think
Schreckengoss, if you're out there listening to this, if you want to come on too, I mean, if you want to talk to us, please, we're open to talk. I mean, we need to know what's going on.
Do I keep calling him Mark?
because
I do. I think I
Did you
do.
call him
either
Mark?
way,
I think I did.
it's better than me calling him long Dutch last name like I
I
think I used
mean,
to.
the last hyper rich dude who owned the club I loved, I usually called Little Lord Fauntleroy. So, I could go harder. I'm trying to be nice. So, sorry, I don't mean to fuck up your name, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I just details, schmetails, bro. I got a lot. I made a lot of pizzas today.
and I understand that our media team is very hard at work, probably understaffed, probably overworked. You gotta be a lot better with these type of announcements. If you're gonna do this type of announcement, just fucking do the announcement.
Yeah, I having worked for the club and known how under resourced you often are, I really, I'm the person who goes through the Walmart self check and gives them 5 stars, no matter how it doesn't. You could have like a turd on the fucking, uh, you know, scale, and I'd just be like, okay, I want to zero out the scale, and I'm gonna give you 5 stars because I'm not snitching.
Same, same.
So,
I can't stand the professional Yelpers.
oh
They
my
piss
God.
me off. They piss me off.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
know too many. We knew too many in our supporter circle. Um, and I think Sean knows exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Um,
I think I know what you're talking about too. So
my point also too, but it's like what I saw this morning, it was just like the effing birds meme. And for those that aren't aware what the effing birds is, my expectations are low. I've said fuck enough times today. I'm saying that's all, that's what I mean into. I hope I don't have hope with this move, right? This decision right now. I'm baffled by this decision. I understand it's an instant reaction, it's a quick reaction. I
Right.
get that. But it's been 2.5 months of what we've seen with this. This was the last decision I would be expecting to make. I would seen the club make this during this time that Adam you've talked about repeatedly, with other huge things outside of football that's taken place. Demolition of the hospital site, the groundbreaking for this stadium, all these investors coming in, um, people behind the decision. Please explain yourself. Our invite is open. We don't bite. I promise. Um, just and at least give us something to at least so that way we can understand and at least maybe have some empathy for maybe your decision that you made.
Right. Like where you
Because right now, without any of that, we're left to wonder.
let me spin it like a completely like I have no idea, right? This is a complete fantasy, like imagine a thought experiment basically. But if the situation was that you really wanted to go hard on data, and you felt like that's like at this point not using it as a competitive disadvantage, and so if we're going to do it, let's try to get an advantage there and really really pour some money and resources into that. I can imagine Trev being resistant to that, right? I don't know for a fact, like we've never talked about this ever, but given the generation he's from and all that, you can imagine him kind of going, you know, and that being their proximal reason for doing this. Um, and like if that's the case, then I just want to see the investment. I want to see the results, right? If you got rid of Trev just because like what nothing like like
politics, politics behind the
this needs
scene.
to
Yeah.
fucking pay off. And whatever that means, you know, like if that means that we use Shrek and Goss um tech connections to pull in some talent for the data team or something. Okay. Like, but it needs to pay off, right? It can't just be like, so we hired another guy for what we were paying Trev and we soldier on. No, no, fuck you. Like if you're replacing Trev with one dude, this dude needs to have thunderbolts coming out of his fucking head. Like he needs to immediately produce like a couple of cat quick Brazilian teenagers. Um,
To quote
and
Talladega Nights, he needs to wake up and piss excellence.
right, like, and if you're going to build out a team, then we need to see like ads going out in the right places, right? There's not that many like I know the data people, right? It's not a huge circle. Um, and you're talking about 10,000 people in the world, probably. Um, and maybe 20,000. Sorry. Um, and
Oh, there are people.
but like an email, like that conceivably could be an email list, right? um, and like we should be able to see that you are actually recruiting for these positions, you know, um, football data analyst or whatever. Um, so like it can't be some like kind of pipe dream. Like if you got rid of Trav on Tuesday morning, like you need to be well into the planning stages of this next thing you're doing, and this needs to be something that was just a shame, but you had to do it because there's a better thing coming. That's the only way this could come good, really, in my view. Like if you just replace him with
The
another
next thing
dude,
we're
like
gonna get though is a post for
what?
yeah.
Like, okay, well, like this guy needs to fucking produce. Like, we're gonna be ruthless with his ass. Um, you know,
But
that's just how it is. Like,
I have
I am going to be extremely critical of
Yeah.
whoever fucking comes next. They can eat a bag of dicks if they think that's like going to change. Fuck you. Like, all right, you got rid of the inspirational leader. It's fine. The world's nicest person in some ways. Like, it's cool. It's fine. Well,
no big deal. Nothing to
yeah,
see here. Nothing to see
exactly.
here.
Like, now, like,
By the way, our next match is
I
Saturday. Here's links for
right,
buying tickets.
right. I'm just deeply aware that like, no one ever shows you all themselves, right? And like, I, like so. Anyone being like kind of cut loose like this. That's part of why it's if this is just them letting him go for this is how they let him go. The way they let him go like made my stomach drop and makes me worry that there's some like that there's a card to fall here. There's something I don't know about this dude I consider a friend, right? Like that's what worries me like as a person is like what the fuck? Like what did Trev do? Like come on. And if the answer is like, well, nothing, it just didn't fit in our plans for like, oh man, fuck you. Then write four fucking paragraphs. Like, what's wrong with you? Anyway,
Exactly four. No more, no less. I haven't, it's Adam, you said this in the last episode. It is perfectly okay to take accountability for decisions made and calling on people to if they
I
make
didn't. I
decisions
didn't.
like
I didn't
this.
say. I didn't say
What
that.
did you say something about account? What did you to
No,
compare?
Sean said that. Sean said that, not me.
Okay.
It's insightful. I'll take credit for it if he doesn't want it, but
Adam's like, Adam's like, I'm anti accountability. I'd like to go on the record for that.
Fuck y'all. Don't take credit for shit. um, but we also are very passionate about this, and it could be angry, irate. Yeah, we're feeling all that. Comes from a point of caring. Comes from a point of love for this club. This to us, A lot of questions need to be raised. We're waiting for answers for this. Until those answers, kind of, there's some upset, there's some anger, and it's perfectly okay to feel these things. Let your feelings come out, people. It's perfectly all right. Um, but we've gone 90 plus minutes a day after we went 2 plus hours.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, I'm boring myself right now.
the
Like,
cats, Sean's cats, are probably ready for him to give them treats or
oh,
time, love, and tender care and affection.
that was
So
why my mic was turned off earlier. Pony
yeah.
let me know, like, where's the treats? And I was like, I had to fend them off. So anyway.
So send all the cat pics because you know what we need good vibes right now. Send all the great cat pics to Sean Spence's social media accounts. The Twitter account
Lord.
is skilled chafing SCYLDESCEAFING, and the same but .bsky.social for Blue Sky. Skillchafing@gmail.com. Subscribe to the Words About Shapes Patreon, $3 a month. Adam, TMSNX Adam on Twitter, and the same for Blue Sky, but just add the .bsky.social. TMSNX Detroit for the majors. Detroit.themajorsports.com website. Hit that like and subscribe at the Majors TV on YouTube and follow us on all the social media platforms. This is also going to be the plug for Channel 451 Tunnel Talk. I believe they are going tomorrow. You think we're fired up? You haven't heard them yet. Um,
No,
so
I can't wait. I want to hear it.
it'll be, yeah. Some people woke up to this news like, what the fuck?
Uh,
Uh, so
That
you
would
can,
be Jam.
yep,
yeah. I
coming
mean,
back from Cal.
I felt like, like I was caught in amber, like, because I'm working, there's like, I can't really, I'm trying to, like, all these people are texting me and I'm like, the things, the alarms going off because there's another order coming in, like, fuck, all right. But, like, I can't, like, I have to wash my hands every time I touch my phone. So, like, okay, I'm just gonna put that up there and it's like ringing and ringing, like, oh my God. Yeah, it was a weird time to drop it.
Yeah, yeah. This has been a day, to say
Mm.
the least. We are seriously off next week. I said
Yes.
this last night. I'm saying it again. We are not recording next week.
God
But
damn
I'm
it.
gonna say unless, and I said it last night, which maybe it
You
put it in
did
the.
fucking say this.
I said unless something catastrophic happens, and I think that
Yeah.
was the exact word that I said.
Yeah, you did.
We'll be off next week. We won't record. So should I say it again?
I mean,
Detroit City
I think it's
FC
it's
front
like a
ownership. Explain yourself.
yeah, it's an asterisk, like it's understood. Like that we'll if something crazy happens, like okay, we'll trudge back in front of the microphone and bloviate.
Something's gonna happen tonight, and
Yeah, we're gonna have to fucking trash this again. Like 3.5 hours. God damn
Dan
it.
Gilbert, Dan
I am
Gil, Dan, yeah, Dan Gilbert's buying the team, and we're moving to MLS.
tomorrow. Tomorrow,
That's
yeah.
the
I mean, like you're
that
joking
I'm
about that,
drop
you motherfucker,
Damn.
you motherfucker. Like you
10:30,
just
ten
like
thirty tomorrow morning. 10:30 tomorrow morning
motherfucker,
with a presser at
And we're
right?
gonna find out via Detroit News paywall.
Yeah. The real reason,
Because why the fuck not?
The real reason that Dave left Liggett is because they're each getting like 100 mil. He's
and
just
that's
like,
why that
yeah. He's like, I got my fuck you money, bitch. Like all of a sudden, there's this other side of Dwayne that we never knew. He's like, eat my dick. I'm never responding to nothing. Like,
and
wow.
Sean isn't responding because he's in Cabo right now.
Right, exactly. Like he's never coming home.
Alex writes knee deep in the red wine. Oh, insert scenarios for everybody here.
There
Man,
you go.
Yeah.
Well, that
all
would be
right.
that's just step one. Well, step three of Todd Kropf's plan to take over the universe. So, like, it involves like von Neumann
Uh,
machines and stuff. Like, it gets crazy.
is Kevin still the right hand man for that operation? You think, or do you think he might have evolved in that situation?
Kevin. Well, yes, no. Like Kevin continues to like evolve with the situation.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like I
We
mean,
go onward.
Like Kevin is you know, an example of the of limitless human capacity. Like they just keep giving him more, and he just kind of goes like figures out how to fucking do it, and then does it. Like it's I got all day for Kevin.
It's that meme of, how many more of your toughest battles you gonna give me? How the fuck are you still alive? That's one of my favorite memes to go, along with the Pawn Stars meme mentioned in the Lost episode. All right, I'm done talking about the Lost episode. I'm done. We've recorded a lot the last 2 days.
You've done a really great job of making it like tantalizing. Like it was just the best shit. And like eventually somebody's gonna get a hold of the recording and it's like this is just their usual shit for 2 hours. Like what the
You
fuck?
motherfuckers.
But no, I'm just saying that to help bury it because it was so good. It's all part of the conspiracy, or is it?
We go onward? Question mark? Because that's how I fucking feel right now. Oh.
Reality is quicksand. Let's go.
Have a good night, everybody.